Consider this. Every week in South Africa, one farmer is murdered. A chilling fact that underscores a grim reality far beyond the tranquility of the countryside. We are not just talking about a rural crisis, but a national calamity that ripples through the veins of our agricultural sector and reverberates within the heartbeat of our economy. The South African Police Service and the Transvaal Agricultural Union statistics paint a stark picture. They reveal a terrifying escalation in farm murders, a surge that spares no one, regardless of age or gender. These acts of violence don't just rob families of their loved ones, they strip the nation of its precious food producers, leaving us all a little hungrier, a little poorer. Yet what's even more disheartening is the fact that these are not just random acts of violence. They're systematic, calculated attacks, targeting the very backbone of our society, our food providers. Each fallen farmer is a blow to our agricultural sector, a sector that not only feeds us, but also significantly contributes to our national economy. This is not just a number, it's a human tragedy unfolding every week. The question that haunts us all, are these killings political or criminal? This question is as pervasive as the fear that plagues these communities. The nature of these killings is multifaceted and complex. Some argue that they are politically motivated, a claim often fueled by heated rhetoric from certain South African politicians. Others suggest they are simply criminal acts, born out of desperation and socioeconomic disparity. Independent organizations have conducted extensive research into this issue. Their reports often present a nuanced picture, pointing to factors such as land disputes, racial tension, and economic instability. They caution us against oversimplifying the problem, reminding us that the reality is far from black and white. Yet regardless of the motivations behind these heinous acts, the outcomes are tragically the same. Lives are lost. Families are shattered. Communities live in constant fear and uncertainty. Whether political or criminal, the result is the same. Lives are lost and communities are terrified. What is the ANC government doing about this crisis? The South African government has shown concern regarding the escalating farm killings. They've implemented security measures, such as police patrols and community watch programs, in vulnerable areas. Government officials like the Minister of Police have publicly condemned the violence, labeling it a threat to the nation's food security. However, the effectiveness of these measures is a subject of debate. While the government claims that they are doing everything within their power to combat the issue, critics argue the response has been lackluster. They point to the persisting violence and the lack of comprehensive strategies to address the root causes of the conflict. There's also a call for the government to explicitly categorize these crimes as hate crimes or acts of terror. This, they argue, would not only emphasize the gravity of the situation, but would also pave the way for stricter laws and harsher penalties. In essence, the government's response seems to be a step in the right direction, but there's still a long journey ahead. There needs to be a more robust, strategic, and multifaceted approach to this crisis. The government's response, while significant, has not yet stemmed the tide of violence. These killings are causing a significant shift in South Africa's demographics. The fear instilled by the brutal farm murders has led to a noticeable migration pattern. White farmers, traditionally the backbone of South Africa's agricultural sector, are leaving the country in alarming numbers. According to the South African Institute of Race Relations, the white population has seen a steady decline over the past 2 decades, a trend that's been exacerbated by these recent events. These farmers aren't just leaving their homes, they're leaving their livelihoods, their communities. But the impact goes beyond just the demographic shift. Economically, South Africa is taking a hit as well. These farmers are skilled laborers, their expertise honed over generations of agricultural work. Their departure means a loss of knowledge, a loss of productivity, and ultimately, a blow to the nation's food security. The loss of skilled farmers is not just a demographic shift, it's a blow to South Africa's economy. So, what should be done to address this crisis? The first step towards resolution is improving law enforcement. There's a need for more comprehensive and efficient policing, with a focus on rural areas where these crimes predominantly occur. This means not just increasing the number of officers on the ground, but also providing them with the appropriate training to handle such unique and volatile situations. Secondly, it's crucial to address the underlying socioeconomic issues that often act as catalysts for such brutal acts. By reducing poverty and income inequality, we can help to eliminate some of the desperation that motivates these crimes. This involves improving access to quality education, and creating more job opportunities, particularly in rural areas. Thirdly, fostering dialogue between communities is key. This means encouraging open and honest conversations about racial tensions, land ownership, and economic disparity. By bringing these issues into the open and facilitating constructive discussion, we can start to break down the barriers that divide us. These suggestions, backed by expert opinions, are just the start. They require political will, resources, and most importantly, time. The path to resolving this crisis is complex, but one thing is clear: inaction is not an option.